Good morning. Did you ever wake up to make a cup of coffee and you can't because you don't have any water? Well, this morning we woke up and trying to get water out of the freshwater tank. The pump is just spitting little bits of water. So, first thing this morning, I get to put a new freshwater pump in. Now, for those of you that don't carry one of these guys, you should have one inside your RV in your spare parts bin, and everybody needs a spare parts bin. Water pump is a weak link. This is only used when you're taking water out of the freshwater tank. So we're going to change this out. It's pretty simple. You need a screwdriver. You need a set of side cutters or wire cutters. You need a wire stripper and a crimper. And you're going to need, if I got it here in my pocket, and you're going to need a pair of channel locks, a small set of channel locks, because the fasteners that screw onto the end are just like a hose fitting, but they're on pretty snug. So with that said, we'll go over. Oh, and it's real handy to have a little step stool to sit on too. With all that said, we'll go over the other side and we'll change the water pump. To change the water pump out, it's actually pretty simple. There's a couple of screws holding it down. You have a power wire and you have a negative wire or a ground wire. These are all wired in our Tiffin motorhome with wire nuts here, and I'm not going to get into all of that because of the length of wire. You want to make sure that the water pump is shut off so there's no power to the pump, and you also want to shut the water off to the pump. There's a little handle there. You shut that off, and that way the water pressure that comes from the water tank is not being fed to the pump. Now, you're going to have some water that's going to leak out, which is normal, but with this shut, you shouldn't have the entire tank wanting to empty itself all over your wet bay. So what we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our wire cutters, and we'll give ourselves plenty to work with, and we'll cut the black wire, and we'll cut the red wire. All right, so those two are disconnected. Then we're going to take and we'll use our handy dandy screwdriver, and we're going to loosen up the screws. And for your installation, you may need something, a different type of screwdriver, a stubby screwdriver or something along those lines. Then, before we take those completely loose, we're going to loosen up the water fittings. This one goes to the house, so you're going to loosen that up and you get a little water out of there, and then we're going to go back in the back, and we'll have to adjust our pliers up. All right, we got our pump out, and we've cut the wires to loosen it up. We've got everything off, and we'll take a look at our new pump that we're putting back in, and we can see that we're missing a part off that new pump. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to move this portion of the pump over to the new pump, and we should be ready to go. So we just need to unscrew this. All right, set the new pump or the old pump aside. Make sure that all our old plumber's tape and stuff is removed. We'll take a look here and make sure the same thing. And we'll take our new pump, pull the caps off, and put our parts that we removed back on. And we'll just screw that down snug. Now, generally speaking, when you install anything with a nut or anything like that, what you want to do is you want to run it down hand tight and then like go one flat past, so that you, and this is a flat, so that you don't crush the seal to where it doesn't work right. And we'll pull our PEX plumbing hose out. Screw our fitting down. You may have to move it around a little bit to get it started, because this is like starting a garden hose. And then we're just gonna snug this up. And remember, hand tight, and then you want to go about one flat past. Okay, we have that side on, and then we'll take and put this side on. And again, one flat past. All right, we have our pump in position. We're going to put our screws back in. And we should just run it down. And this is a vibration mount. And you just want to snug it down. You don't need to over torque it or anything. Just get it started, snug it down. And again, a good ratcheting screwdriver is an RV owner. It's a must-have. So if you don't have one, buy one. It'll save you a lot of time. And you always want to carry spare screws of all types with you. If you have deep pockets and you can afford to have somebody do this kind of work for you, that's a great thing. A lot of this work you can do yourself and save yourself a couple of $100 an hour. Just remember, shut off the power. Make sure that your water is shut off, and then you can do this job without much of an issue. All right, now we have, when you're working with any kind of electricity, even if you, excuse me, even if you have the power shut off, always work one wire at a time. Don't strip everything and have it laying around for the possibility that you could have a red and black wire touch and you could wind up with a short. So you don't want to do that. So we're going to work one wire at a time, and we have should be a 14 gauge wire here. Let's see. Take your wire strippers and pull the little end piece off. Discard that. And you're going to take your black wire and you give it a little twist to make sure nothing's out of the way. That's always a good thing. And we're going to stick that in our connector. Now, I like to use connectors. Leave the original wiring and then use a connector. Because I think it's just, for me, it's just easier. You can adjust the wires to the length you want. Squeeze it down nice and tight. All right. Then you always want to check and just give it a little tug. You don't have to get ugly and pull on it real hard. Just give it a little tug. And now we're going to do the same thing with our red wire. It comes out here. That's our power wire. And we'll just, remember it's a 14 gauge, so we'll stick it in there. There we go. Strip that wire down. Give her a little twist. And take our wire from the pump. Insert it into the connector. And we're going to squeeze that down nice and tight. Alright. We'll give it a little tug and make sure that it's tight. And it is. And then we want to take this mess of wires back here and stick it back out of the way. Check the security of our pump. And next thing we want to do is turn on the water, because you never want to run a pump dry, ever. If you run a pump dry, you can burn it up. And what we're going to do is we turn it on, and voila, the pump is running. That's all there is to it. I'm Mike. This is our Tiffin motorhome. Glenda's behind the camera. And another fix, and we're heading down the road. Have a great day. Oh, like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye.